Jordan Barton. I've been friends with you for, 10 years. Fight MMA professionally, and then my last fight was, 2 weeks ago, over in Croatia for the FNC Featherweight title.
From Barton, big right there, cracked it, and then the left skips over the top of the temple, and Bejant there kissed canvas. That was an absolute powerhouse of a shot. Just look at the finish, and he had such leverage.
Big win, first round knockout. Been enjoying that, and then it looks like I'm going to be defending it actually in September, so it's good. Yeah, 2nd of September it looks like.
Mad.
Waiting to hear, but
it's nice to speak to you coming off the back of a win, because obviously last time we spoke was after a bit of a different result.
Yeah.
That was the fight. Where was that last fight?
It was in Dublin.
Oh yeah, I remember now. And I think after that fight, actually talking to you, you seem very motivated. Because being a mate, you don't really know in what spirit you're going to be coming up, like from a loss like that. How did that sort of help you going forward and help you with your next fight?
I feel like you're right. Yeah, I was motivated. I think sometimes after you've won, you kind of relax, you chill, you enjoy a bit of time, and I felt like I couldn't do that after losing. I didn't really enjoy anything. Like, it was like I didn't want to go out for food. It's like you've not earned that. Do you know what I mean? I didn't want to enjoy anything. I just wanted to get straight back to training and work and improve. I just wanted to get back to it. Even if I wasn't fighting straight away, I wanted to be ready to fight. And like I said, it kind of spoils you don't really enjoy anything after it. You know, after you've won, you enjoy everyone saying well done. You enjoy the food that you couldn't have before. You enjoy going out, and just wasn't the same when you lose. So that is the motivation.
Mad. And then so coming back after a win, do you enjoy it more? Do you feel like you can reward yourself a bit more?
Yeah, I do enjoy it. I enjoy, again, all them things that I said, going out for food. That's my main thing, food. And that's the thing that you kind of have to miss out on when you're training for a fight. That's the big thing.
What's funny, knowing you, right? The calmest person ever. The only time I've seen you get mad is because of food.
Yeah, I can definitely believe that. I believe that,
Like a delivery not turning.
Yeah, raging.
Before you're going to rip apart a hotel room, like I was scared. And then the last thing, the night in Dubai, the same situation with the pizza. I was like, George's in a bad way.
I'm jinxed with them apps as well, by the way. Is it Uber Eats or whatever? I'm jinxed with that. Proper.
That's so funny. I remember last time you're like, I'm going to go down to the shop. I'm going to have to walk there and get it. Fucking hell.
I think I was an hour away from the shop and I was willing to walk as well.
Madness. And then so last time we were chatting, there was you'd had quite a tough, I think it's always tough, but the weight cut had been quite a heavy one, and I feel like this time maybe a bit easier. Would you say?
Yeah. So weirdly, when I say it's got to be lighter, it's a pound lighter, which sounds like nothing, but when you're that dehydrated, another pound extra is a lot. So it actually had to be a pound lighter for this fight, because it's a title fight, you have to be dead on weight, which is for me £145. Yeah, that one in Dublin was tough. I don't really know why, but weight just didn't come off as easy. And then when I got back into the sauna, I just wasn't sweating. I don't know what it was. I don't know. But with this last fight, I kind of think I just got a bit ahead on my weight, so I was a bit lower earlier on, probably because of that fight.
Yeah.
You know, it put me off, and I was like, I need to be on this because I don't want to be struggling like that. And knowing this fight that I've just had's a 5-rounder. You know, usually it's a 3-round fight in MMA. Title fight's 5 rounds. So I just thought, if it's going to affect my fitness or conditioning, I've got like 2 rounds extra as well to go. I need to make sure I'm fresh for it.
Yeah, it was mad watching it, because with the other fights, I feel nervous watching, which is obviously a natural feeling for anyone watching and someone who supported you like your whole career. But I didn't even feel nervous. You looked so sharp, so ready. And I was even saying this like when I've been to Top Team before and stuff, when you were training with Carl, I've never seen you look that sharp. What am I right in thinking that was kind of how you felt, or I don't know what's changed?
Yeah, you're right. That's like, I feel like I've been doing this 10 years. I think that's 10 years of experience, but it's kind of like, you know, when you train or you do anything for a long time and then it feels like overnight or really quickly everything comes together. It kind of was a bit of a situation like that. And weirdly what it was, I learned that I always overtrained, definitely. So I never felt good going into training. Always felt drained, tired. I'd have pains or aching. I found that sometimes taking an extra day off or just doing 1 session in a day benefited me 10 times more than always going 2 and 3 hard sessions a day. I was probably burning out. This time I didn't let myself do that. And I also found my weight come down easy because of that.
That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's mad. To be fair, I've watched a few people recently where you would almost think that they're not training that hard because they do have quite a lot of time off it.
Yeah.
But even myself, I've noticed, like training next door, if you take 3 or 4 days off, sometimes you come back and you feel way stronger just because you have repaired and recovered. And
Yeah.
so I guess fine tuning that balance and stuff is nice. You were saying that September is the defending the belt. How soon will it be before you find out who you're fighting, or how does it work?
I think I know who I'm fighting, actually.
Mad.
Funny enough, I don't know if you noticed this on the stream, but there's a guy. So when I was doing my interview after the fight in the cage, there's a guy shouting me from the cage side. I don't know if I've even spoke to you about this yet.
No.
Okay, he's shouting from the cage side, shouting, Jordan, I want to fight you next. Basically calling me out. And he fought on the same night. Do you know Ronnie Jason, the small Brazilian guy? So it looks like that's who I'm fighting.
Sick.
Yeah. So he's actually really respectfully calling me out as well. But I'm actually really excited for that fight. Like I said, the guy's a UFC veteran. He won the Ultimate Fighter. He's had 10 fights in the UFC. You know, so for me to go in and win and ideally get a finish and prove a statement against an ex-UFC guy that's won the Ultimate Fighter just puts me in a good place.
Yeah, it's nice that you're getting worthy opponents and vice versa, and people are seeing you, and I think that's a really cool place to be. It's not just some random bum shouting your name out.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
No, that's right.
And so when it comes to that calling out, how does that work? Do you feel like it's something that needs to happen in the sport, or how do you see it? Like, what sort of, is it something that you would do? Would you start calling people out?
Yeah. I don't. People look at it like really personally. I don't look at this sport personally at all. Like whether that's calling out, whether that's, like, well, look, I just knocked this guy out. Right. I don't know the guy. I don't hate him. Don't like him. I don't know him. You know what I mean? There's nothing personal to it. I shook his hand before the fight. I'll shake his hand after the fight. It's just a job to me. Like, I don't think anything into it. And that's the same with whether it's calling someone out or anything. Even shit talking usually isn't personal. You know, it's just trying to build something up and make a bit more money. And the more hype you get on something, the more money it makes. That's obvious with anything you do, including fighting. So, yeah, it's not personal. I think it's a good fight.
Is it something you would do, calling people out? Is there anyone where you've thought, all right, I'm coming for you? Or
I think it's more suited to when you probably, you could do it anytime, but signed to a promotion. You know, so if I would just say, if I signed a multi-fight deal now for Bellator or anyone, I would look at who's in the top 15 and kind of look at who matches me best style. Then it makes sense to call someone out. Until you're in that position, not really, especially now, if I'm defending that, not really, because if you look at me as defending the belt, I'm at the top of that point. So I benefit off no one other than someone further on now. Probably my best bet is to call someone out, top 15 Bellator or a UFC guy, and try and get a fight in the UFC. You know what I mean? That would benefit me now.
Yeah. And is there anyone across competitions that you look at and think, like in Bellator or someone, you think, wow, this would be a good fight?
And there's a guy called Pedro Cavallo, I don't know if I'm saying that right, from SBG. He's actually moved on now. I think he's top 10 or top 5 Bellator, but I always thought that was a good fight for me. That one, or any of my losses, obviously I'd love to get them back as well. They're just obvious ones, like, you know what I mean? I think probably every fighter thinks like this, but I believe I could beat the guys that have beat me.
Yeah.
You know, fighting a different fight, I could beat them guys. So that's always something you want back as well.
Yeah. So do you base that off the fact that you think you could beat them? Or is it you think, no, this will be an all-out war that'll be good to watch?
No, I think I can beat them.
Yeah. Just every time,
I'm not picking the guys that gave me a war. Fuck that. You know what I mean?
I
don't want damage. I want to pick the right guys and get to the top. Who doesn't want that route? Look, it's getting damage and getting in wars is kind of inevitable. It's going to happen. And it's styles make fights. You can never predict what someone's going to be like until you're in there, weirdly enough. As much as you watch someone, like I think, oh, I know this guy, he's a good kickboxer, or he's got this and that. It's never the same when you stood in front of someone. It's really weird. It's hard to explain, but it's like fighting someone to watching someone. It's so different. It's like the difference of watching a fight to being in a fight. Yeah. It's so different. It's like you can't even explain it, but yeah, it's hard to, with styles make fights, that is it.
And with your last fight, did it go as planned? Like, what were you thinking when you're in there? What went through your mind? Yeah, tell me about it.
Probably didn't go as planned, actually. I prepared for a long, hard fight. I prepared for the 5 rounds, which you'd be stupid not to, because there's a possibility you could go 5 rounds, and if you're not ready for it, you're in for a rude awakening, a 5-round fighter, so that's tough. So I planned for a long 5-round fight. Like I said to you before, he's fought good guys as well. He's fought an ex-Cage Warriors champion. He's fought UFC veterans too. He finished one of them, and then the other 2 have been decisions. So he's gone all the way. He's like, I know he's tough. I know he can take damage. So I wasn't. I didn't even really think I was going to get a finish. Obviously, you always want one. Prepare for the 5 rounds. Anything less is good. So yeah, I expected a 5-round fight, to be honest, but it kind of went perfect.
And in terms of the show as well, so FNC, you were going to be fighting on there previously. This was your first fight on the show. What were they like? How did they put it on? Was it a good system? And I mean, it looked amazing, to be fair.
It was, yeah. I couldn't say anything bad about it. Obviously, I fought on Bellator, and I would put it on par with that, as in how they treat the fighters.
Yeah.
Put you up in a good hotel, cover food, pay well. The production of the show, second to none. The arena was full. Everything was so professional about it. I look forward to going back September, to be honest.
Yeah, that's exciting. And then also I saw that you were with Lerone at the UFC. Let's talk about that a little bit. So what was that experience like? Was that the first time being on a UFC sort of behind the scenes?
Yeah. So it's like a proper fanboy thing, innit? You know, if you've watched the UFC for years, obviously for me it would be to fight on it. That would be the thing. But just to go around with, like, Lerone's one of my training partners, but become one of my friends as well, and just to be around it with him and see it from that side, like you say, the behind scenes, see everything from behind. Yeah, it was amazing. And then just to corner it and, you know, just be, I know you can be cage side, but literally cage side, where you sat there watching it live. It's amazing. So I'm actually back with him 22nd of July. He's on the London card, so I look forward to that.
Sick, that's nice. Yeah. I think that's good for you as well to see it from that behind the scenes thing before actually being on it too. Do you know what I mean? It always gets out your system. You're not just going there for the first time and fighting on it and doing it. You're getting used to the setup. Then you'll be fighting on it, or you know what I'm saying? So, but I think at the minute it's interesting as well, because I feel like across the competitions it's becoming quite even. Obviously for a long time the UFC was up here, but I think now the competition's changed a lot, and you know, it's not like everyone has to be on the UFC. It's sort of switching up a little bit. You used to be, to make a career with MMA, it had to be the UFC. It's so far from that now. Yeah. You could make a career in 5 organisations or more, but easily, you know. And I think for fighters, that's such a good place to be, because you don't feel like, if I don't get there, it's all over. There's so many ways now to make a real career out of MMA. So it's a great time, you know, to be a fighter, really. Yeah. And so outside of fighting, so obviously I know you training a lot, but what else do you do? What else is your sort of thing? What do you like to do? How do you wind down?
I'd say I am very like chilled, so I'm not big into like really nights out or drinking or anything. I'm more literally chilling, watching a series. I like going out for meals or going cinema. Just the more chilled it is, the better for me. I actually like, I can't remember who I spoke to this about, but they're asking me, does my girlfriend go to the gym and into training? I said no, she's not. And I said, to me, that's perfect, because I don't want someone that's banging to training, and then when I'm trying to chill, she's like, wants to eat always really clean, wants to go on a run, wants to train. It's like, that would kill me off, you know what I mean? I just want to, when I'm chilling, I want to chill, you know what I mean? Like, I couldn't be arsed with that around me. So, yeah, when I'm away from the gym, I like to properly switch off from it, because it's, MMA is like nothing else. Not just your training, but it's like when you know you come up to a fight, your mind, not for 5 minutes is your mind off that fight. Within every 5 minutes, for at least a moment, the fight comes into your mind, the guy that you're fighting, thinking, I wonder if he's training now. Like, it's crazy. So, you know, to be anything that can relax you and take you away from that, it's a good thing.
Yeah. That's really interesting, because that makes me think that would help with, I guess a lot of people get anxiety or nerves or have like mad up and down in like mental health terms. Do you find that you can regulate that quite well? I mean, knowing you, I think you're a pretty calm guy and quite stable.
Yeah.
Do you think that helps in stabilising? What else do you do to stabilise that up and down?
Yeah. I think it's inevitable, you know, that you're going to get anxious, nervous, all them feelings, but it's not allowing it to overwhelm you, you know. So when you feel it, what I do is I've learned to kind of accept it, not try and fight it off and go, oh, I'm not nervous. Yeah, of course I'm nervous. I'm about to fight somebody. Do you know what I mean? Like, why wouldn't I be nervous? When I'd be worried is the day I don't feel nervous. Then I know it's like, yeah, you need to leave this. You're going to get hurt.
Yeah.
Them nerves are what switch me on. So understanding that all these feelings are natural and not trying to stop things. I think that's probably one of the best things I learned. And then bringing it outside of fighting, I was speaking to, I think it was on that last podcast I did actually, but outside of fighting, it's kind of made me not stress. Probably not, I was saying the things that would maybe keep someone up, general life worries, barely would faze me. Because I kind of put myself in the most stressful situation you ever could. So just general life, just nothing seems that worrying or stressful. It's like, it will be all right, you know what I mean?
It's interesting that, because that's something I've found recently through business and talking to other people as well, is when you get those major stresses. Sometimes it's hard to relate to people who are like having a bad day because, I don't know, the car broke down or something. You know what I mean? To me, that's a nice stress to have.
Yeah, that's so simple. It's
so
just
basic.
so little.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It can be sorted so easily, but yeah, that's what I mean. A little stress is kind of someone that has maybe not them big stresses in life. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
You know, when you have like a real big stress in life, all the other things just seem so little. Yeah.
This is a bit of a deep one, but I've enjoyed asking this question to people, and it's kind of about faith and belief. So I've had a few people on here who are from different religious backgrounds and beliefs and that sort of stuff. How do you see yourself? Are you a religious guy?
No.
Not?
No. I would say the best way I can explain it is I believe in the universe. That sounds deep, but what I mean by that is I believe like things happen for a reason, and it's just we're kind of on a path, and that's where for me the term comes in. It is what it is. However it goes, it's meant to go that way. You know, that's probably what takes a lot of stress off me too. You know, I just think with whatever happens in my life, that's how it was meant to go. So it kind of takes a lot of stress off me. Yeah.
I love asking the question knowing you.
Yeah.
Just how happy you are to get into the universe, that sort of shit. You're like, let's go. But I like sort of some mad beliefs and stuff too, because I was thinking the other day, this is a little crazy theory for you. I was driving and I was thinking, how mad would it be if only we exist in this situation, right? And everything around you happens based off of your reactions with the world, if that makes sense. So
you create it.
Yeah, so basically if bad stuff starts happening in the world, like global warming, this, that and the other, it's based off of your actions. So the world gets
Literally
personally. So each person, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like in their own little separate.
That's kind of probably true, isn't it? Really, maybe not quite to the extent of global warming, but your life is based on probably your beliefs and how you live your life. That's probably pretty true.
Yeah.
I mean, like you do choose how you live your life, and then
I just like that. I was just driving along thinking there's just some mad theories of like, because I was thinking about simulation as well, and if it's all just made up, and I lose myself on that shit.
From behind me, there's nothing. It's only first person what I see. That's all that exists.
And then I start feeling bad. Like that's such a selfish way to start thinking. But then I start playing in my mind a little bit what's going on. I was going to ask you too about what you've been reading at the minute. I think this is a big thing because every time we speak, there's been another book or something going on. So,
what have I? Do you know what? Actually, I always like to research a book before I buy it, just to see if I'd actually be interested in it. Is it too much of, you know what I mean? I was looking at something called Meditations by, I don't know who, I think a few people have wrote it, but it's Marcus Aurelius. Basically, like, you know what Stoicism is? It's kind of like the rules of life of Stoicism and stuff, and I've been getting well into that recently.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Anything you've pulled out of it that you can sort of share, anything that you've taken?
I think I actually probably lived quite that, like, by the rules of Stoicism. I think I lived that way without even knowing it existed. Right. So then when I came across it, I was like, yeah, I can proper relate to this. Like, that's what got me into it. It's kind of a little bit like, don't worry about the outside things. You can only control what's in. You know, like, you can only control your own shit. You can't control, like, I can't worry that when I drive home now someone's going to hit me. Yeah. Drive into my car. What's the point worrying about it? What are you going to do about it anyway? Yeah. You know, just worry about your own shit and everything else takes care of itself.
Yeah. And I feel like when you live that way, like you say, not having that anxiety and stuff, it's a big circle, isn't it? So the people around you then feel better. So everything just moves in a forward direction. Yeah. For me, like with my work, if I'm in a situation like I go on set and I'm shooting and I'm calm, everyone around me is calm, everything just benefits.
Yeah.
And I think it's yeah, such a good way to live and such a good thing to follow. So obviously, I've known you a long time, and I would say that you're probably one of the most motivated people. Is that something that comes naturally to you, or how do you stay motivated?
Yeah, I actually would say I'm motivated, but I think relying on motivation is never going to last. Like, I probably couldn't tell you the last day I was motivated literally for the whole day, from waking up to going to bed. Like, it doesn't happen, you know. But what I'm good at is being disciplined, I think. Knowing that, especially for what I do, certain things have to be done, and whether I feel like it or not, then they're getting done. I always find writing things down. So I like to, on a Sunday night, I write my list out, or my week out of my work, my training, whatever it is that needs to be done in that week, my schedule. And then whether I feel like it or not, then things get done. I think too many people expect to go, I'm going to start the gym tomorrow, and they just think they're going to wake up and be well up for it, buzzing every day, you know what I mean, looking forward to it. You might get one day of the week, and you're pretty lucky if you get one day of the week where you're buzzing for it. That doesn't happen often. A lot of the time it is, this has to be done today, get it done, whether you feel like it or not, because once it's done, you always feel 10 times better as well. You know what I mean? Especially probably even better on the days you didn't feel like doing it and you go anyway.
Yeah.
I think discipline outweighs everything. Motivation's like 1%, 2% of, I think discipline's 90%. It's literally, it is everything, yeah.
I think I found that not thinking was how I managed to stay training and stuff. Like, I would literally be sat on the bench in the gym and not even work out how I'd got there, because I just knew that if I had those thoughts of like, should I go now? Do I feel like it? Do I need to eat? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, all those things that come in before and those doubts that come into your mind, I just wouldn't think. I'd get there, sit down and start training, and then I'd be like, fucking hell, this is hard. Or, you know what I'm saying? I wouldn't give my time.
That's better. Don't let feelings or emotions get in the way. Yeah.
And I guess that is kind of similar. It's just being like, when you've got that target, you just fucking go straight ahead, don't you? You don't like get distracted by anything else. So yeah, interesting. A little segment on this that I want to do is where the guest that's on brings something for the next guest. And I think it would be quite interesting to link people via something that's passed on. So I know that you brought something. And it'd be sick if you could explain what it is and why.
Yeah, I think probably kind of we probably even, I can't remember, we probably mentioned something along these lines on the podcast, but a book, The Power of Now. I've read this a few times. One of the only books I've actually read cover to cover, and more than once. And I just think we were speaking about it before. Everyone struggles to kind of, you're always thinking of something else, whether it's something you did before, whether it's what you've got to do tonight. It's a really simple concept, but so effective. Making sure you just, for even if you only did 5 minutes of a day, focus on something present. So obviously it's the classic thing is your breath, you know, because you when you're breathing, you're in that moment. Just being able to clear your mind and be present. It's such a hard, it seems so simple, but if you actually try and empty your mind and often, it's such a hard thing to be able to do. And this book's a really good way of explaining it. So yeah, Sweet, I'll pass that on.
I appreciate that. I was going to ask, actually, just you saying about that then. So how do you find that you can switch off your mind? What do you do to like get into a state of meditation? Is there somewhere that you go? Is there?
So I used to do just a straight guided meditation on YouTube, and that didn't even work at first. I used to start it and I'd be 5 minutes in and realise I've just been thinking for 5 minutes and I'd be like, oh shit, yeah, I'm trying to do this. So I've got better at doing that, but what I like to do is put some music on that I enjoy, and I take my dog for a walk, and I'm good at just like, for them moments, just make, even if it's just not the whole time I'm out, but if I get 5 or 10 minutes out of a half an hour I'm out, where I'm just enjoying, because that's what I enjoy doing, walking my dog, when I'm just enjoying being with him and just being outside, and like, it doesn't matter if I've got to do this later on, or I did that yesterday and I shouldn't have done that. The only thing that matters and that I can control is this walk now, you know, and just for kind of finding myself just being in that moment. That's what that's what helps me. Yeah.
I think that's good to hear as well, because I think a lot of people put pressure on being in a certain place and sitting cross-legged and this, that, and the other. I think a lot of people sometimes feel daft, but I think the importance is that you are just trying to appreciate what you have and just sort of, being in a meditatory state where you're not thinking of a million things that you've got to do and just starting to switch off. I think that's really cool. I want to ask what music you're listening to now.
Do you know what doesn't suit to what I'm doing? Rap. That's all I listen to.
Some hardcore
Yeah,
shit.
yeah,
while you're there, mate.
but I'm pretty good at yeah, to be fair, I do listen to all that, but I do listen to like literally just when I say guided meditation, sometimes I do a meditation without the speaking over it, like just music, just like chilled, almost chilled spa music. Sounds mad, but it is relaxing. But yeah, I find it really works. For me, walking's the one. Just sitting still, it's like my mind wanders more.
Yeah.
If my body's active, it's like my mind can rest easier. It's weird. But I think you can find it through different ways. Some people find it through running or going to the gym, or a good one is jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu. When you're trying to submit someone and get a good position and they're trying to submit you, there's not much else you can think of except for surviving or catching them. So, you know, just different ways, yeah.
I just got a flashback to that old boy who hurt his back.
Yeah.
That was the footage.
So
And I'm going to just import that little clip into this podcast.
Honestly, I was sat there like crying.
The thing is, I sat with family and I kept thinking about it,
Yeah.
and then laughing again. You know, and you feel weird. 'Cause
It's
no
bad
one
when it pops back up in your head. You're just like, oh, this is really mad. Yeah.
That's going to keep getting me now, like, for the next few weeks.
Funny. So funny.
And we said we're going to go and get food after this, but I also know that because you're a massive foodie and you're often in Manchester, I want to know your top places for eating food in Manchester.
I've been recommended, is it Nell's for pizza? I've not been there yet, but I've been recommended that.
Big slices.
Yeah, meant
That's
to be
actually
ridiculously good.
Because about a week ago, someone said the same to me. They're going to take me to Nell, so that's one that I want to check out. American pie.
American pies, yeah. Like deep dish Chicago style pizza. Again, it's usually all pizza because that's what I'm into. There's a few places I want to try as well. Like I'm into salt, just classic salt and pepper flavour. So obviously Salt and Pepper just opened, or not long opened, not a new shop. Where else? Can't even think of anywhere off the top of my head, but there's just so many places in Manchester for food.
Yeah, decent. I think we should check out Rudy's as well.
Rudy's, yeah, I've heard that as well. Yeah, that's good.
Get some pizza. But no, I appreciate you being here. It's exciting seeing how far you've come and how far you're going. And like I say, I feel like you're just getting started. Everything's built up to this now, and obviously getting the belt and going forward. So I'm very excited, and thank you for bringing the gift as well.
Yeah, nice for having me.